Google News live in 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get right into it. So first of all, if you missed the brawl batch in the White House today, it was absolutely nuts. So if you did not see, of course, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky was supposed to go to the White House and sign this minerals deal. The minerals deal, of course, would be essentially granting access for the U.S. for them to, gain access to all of these minerals and things that are worth trillions of dollars. Essentially, part of that would pay back the $350 billion that we have already sent them. Now, it did not end as they thought it would. And again, if you see the actual clip, it kind of starts out normal and then it just kind of goes off the rails. And again, a lot of people actually that watch the whole thing believe, that the president, our president, was right in this one. What is even funnier, and I cannot believe that somebody in the White House, in the Oval Office today, just literally mentioned to this guy, Why don't you, do you own a suit? Like, do you have a suit? Why are you wearing clothes like you're on, some sort of front line or something? I have pointed this out a million times. I don't know if that guy watches my show. I'm so surprised how many people do not recognize that as PR. So again, very, very interesting to see that. I'm sure a lot of you, when you saw that clip, were like, what the heck? We'll try to show that to you later. But again, look at how they framed this meeting. It says President Donald berated the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for being disrespectful Friday in an extraordinary Oval Office meeting, then abruptly called off the signing of a minerals deal that, of course, the president said would have moved Ukraine closer to ending its war with Russia. The astonishing turn of events could scramble affairs in Europe and around the globe. During his visit with Trump, Zelensky was expected to sign the deal, allowing the U.S. greater access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals, and hold a joint news conference, but that plan was scrapped after the heated engagement between the leaders in front of the news media. J.D. Vance was involved in this. J.D. Vance said, wait, hold up here, stop here for a second. Have you said thank you one time in this meeting so far? I don't know how big of a language gap, Volodymyr Zelensky has, but this was pretty awkward, I will have to say. And Zelensky was getting put on the world stage, and since everyone knows how corrupt and screwed up this whole thing is, I don't think too many people feel bad for him. But it's almost like 3 days in a row, or at least this week, we've had 3 leaders supposedly humiliated by the president. Of course, that is how they portray it. I mean, this was just nuts. It got to the point where, again, we'll talk about this later on our other show, Zelensky ended up calling J.D. Vance the B word. I mean, it was just nuts. And then, of course, the president raised his voice. He said, "You're gambling with World War III, and what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country that's backed you far more than a lot of people say they should have." Again, the last 10 minutes of the nearly 45-minute meeting devolved into a tense back and forth between, of course, Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Zelensky, who had urged skepticism about Russia's commitment to diplomacy, citing Moscow's years of broken commitments on the global stage. So again, he left without actually signing. So this is, again, another setback and another just absolute barrel roll in all of the craziness. Now, before we move on, and again, there's so much more. It is crazy what happened at the White House today. I do want to remind you guys, make sure to go check out EMP Shield if you haven't already. This is a device that will allow you to get home to your family or get out to bug out. It is called the EMP Shield because it protects you against not only EMP strikes from adversaries like Iran, China, and Russia, but it can also protect you against a Carrington-level event from the sun. This is the same company that's outfitting agencies like DHS, DOD, and now helping the DEMSO team protect the Texas grid. Go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. It is very easy to put in your car. There's 3 wires, red to red on your battery, black to black on your battery, and green to ground, and you're set to go. You don't need a mechanic to do this. It is very easy. They also make them for your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, generators, gas, and solar, including the energy if you have one, again, and even your ham radio. So there's all sorts of devices to go and look at. Go check them out, out marfooglenews.com/EMP. You're getting $50 off per device, and you are helping independent media at the same time. All right, let's bring my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine. What a crazy, crazy day it was at the White House.
Oh, and there's so much more. We're gonna go deep. We're gonna deep dive into all of the stuff that was said over on our next show. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But very important here, of course, we just talked about North Korea yesterday and actually 2 days before that, because it all of this craziness was going on with North Korea. We just said they just tested this cruise missile, and now North Korea's Kim orders nuclear readiness after the missile test, KCNA says. Now, this is KCNA. This is not a U.S. I have had people say, like, what state is KCNA? KCNA is Cuckoo Town's, Kim Jong-un's crazy town news company. So I've gotten several emails asking what state that is in the U.S. That is KCNA, as in Korea Central News Agency. So they pass on the direct word from Kim Jong-un straight to other countries. They're just putting it out to the media, and the media grabs up their generalized statement. It is Cuckoo Town. If you've ever watched any longer than a minute of their shows on that channel, they are nuts. But again, Leader Kim says that missile test was a warning to enemies. It is a duty to be prepared to use nuclear force, Kim says. North Korea has been building nuclear-capable cruise missiles. Now, Dex, it's kind of interesting because we just talked about this, and we said, is he actually going to come out and say things directly? Because there's been a lot of doubt about where he is. But what do you think about this?
Well, look, we've been saying for a long time to watch North Korea because they'll probably be the one that starts something up, especially in Asia, whether they're doing it on behalf of Russia or China or just being crazy themselves. But, I would think targets like our Navy out in the water or just straight up targets into South Korea. I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to necessarily strike nukes into South Korea if they ultimately want to unify the peninsula right away. But I definitely could see them taking out an armada of ships sitting out in the waters.
And I'm sorry, you guys, the more I have had just this crazy cough come out of nowhere. I think one of my kids brought it home from school. But it is just the weirdest thing. We were sick about 2 months ago alongside antibiotics and my tooth stuff. But man, out of nowhere. Do you know like how when the sickness just hits you and it's just all of a sudden just boom, you are now sick. All right. I have so much stuff coming up, man. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. All right. And then let's go back into the news. We've got more to cover. And if this cooperates with me. All right. And then we have Zelensky and Trump clash, accelerate U.S. probe of fraud in Ukraine aid. Again, we say he's cooked because there's a lot that is going on right now. But again, I am going to say my little piece is that, I know that this guy, just like all of the rest of these guys, they will in some fashion get some sort of pardon. Just like the last admin, any kind of wrongdoings, they thought of that pre-hand and they, ended up pardoning it. With this is another country, and it is, even if they prove that, a lot of this stuff happened, there was tons of fraud, half of the stuff was sold to cartels, if that is the case, it's not going to, this guy's not going to be put in jail. Or maybe, if anybody, maybe this guy would be the one to go to jail instead of anybody in the U.S. that might have had any kind of dealings with it. What most people think is that a lot of the money that went to, of course, Ukraine, a lot of that might have been filtered back to other people. So, hey, let me give you this $20 billion contract or these $20 billion, but you need to send me back $5 billion through this third party. That's the kind of thing that a lot of us think is going on, of course, even with other countries and NATO countries. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. But Dex, do you want to talk about the clash and what happened? And it's just nuts, and how this could lead into a bigger, faster probe.
I think it's, obviously everybody questions the money. And, it would have probably not been as big of a deal if the mineral deal was signed and we had, $500 million coming in, plus who knows how much more over the years after that. But, the way he acted and the way this went down, it's certainly just saying, okay, put a bullseye on me. But look, let's not forget, okay, let's not forget that even the prior president, Biden, had his own words with Zelensky in the White House. They even reported getting into a cursing match. So Zelensky comes over here with a tude every time. He thinks he can just run in and change it up at the last minute, which is what he did to the previous administration. He'd strike a deal verbally, show up, and then flip the script on him and get something else because he just wanted more money. And that's what happened here. Rubio went and met with him, and along with JD, and they had a plan. And then the next day he came out and said, he said he agreed to the plan. He was going to check with his parliament. Then the next day he came out and said, no, I never agreed to anything with him. So he basically lied. Then he came back again to Rubio saying, yeah, we'll do the mineral deal. We covered that. So they fly him in for Friday to do the mineral deal. And what does he do? He's flipping the script with them again, saying, nah, I'm not going to do it unless you're putting military back in there. So, the way he is acting it's very crazy. And it's the same thing he was doing to our prior president. So don't let people tell you that this is just a new thing for Trump. It's probably been this way for a long time.
Yeah, and as far as any kind of probe, imagine where that would go. Imagine if Doge ends up sifting through all of those funds, and then imagine if they had the power to go through Ukraine's records. I'm sure Ukraine probably doesn't have many. They're like, oh, it's war. Sorry, the building with all the records got blown up. They're like, aren't those? It looks like there's a Ukrainian missile in the floor here still. Is that the back to a Ukrainian missile? That's weird. Says JB, love ya. Huh, weird. And this was the building that had all of the top secret records of all of the donations? Oh, okay. Got it. And then Randy Man, what is going on? Thank you, Scenic Adventures. Says Ukraine says that they have not received as much aid as U.S. has written down. It's not unreasonable to think that it maybe he hasn't looked at all of all the Doge has uncovered already. Yeah, I don't know. I think Dex, can't they track the $350 billion? At least they know that it went somewhere, right? They don't know. They don't know exactly.
Come on.
It definitely
even
left
our
the
Pentagon,
U.S.
Even our Pentagon didn't know what they sent and couldn't track the weapons they were sending. So yeah, this has got to be one of the largest slush funds for lots of people. Ukraine too. They're not innocent. Not the people, but the power people, Zelensky and below. All the ones that were driving around in fancy cars, and I remember like 2 years ago when his wife came to town and bought like a very expensive rock in one of the fancy diamond places in New York. I mean, it's just insane what was going on with the money there.
But yet, his wife can come here and buy a diamond, fancy, expensive diamond. The 9 people underneath him who have already resigned because everybody thought it was really suspicious that Ukrainian soldiers had Lamborghinis and supercars, and those mansions were a little out of place, but I think they deserve it, right? Because they're every day they have to be like, hey, you go and die on the front lines. I'm gonna sit back here. I mean, that must be hard saying bye to all of those young people. And now 40-year-olds, and tomorrow 55-year-olds, and then the next day after that, French 20-year-olds, and then the day after that, French 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds. You know what I mean? They deserve that money. But it's funny to me that she's buying all this diamond stuff, but he can't afford a suit to wear outside of the country. I've told you guys about the PR thing about him wearing these stupid outfits. The green shirt was for 2 years. Everybody caught on to it, and I'm so glad that somebody actually called that out today. For the first time ever in front of all of the media, says, why do you wear that stupid outfit? Why do you dress like you're on the front lines? I have said this, and I think that guy, I have a feeling that same gentleman, I believe he has watched in the past. So I don't know. I just said that the day before, and then he brings that up at the meeting. I thought that was really interesting. But either way, I mean, a lot of people have noticed that.
Well, if when you guys watch our next show, because we're going to show all the videos, but one of the videos is Trump kind of giving him a poke at his outfit too, because when he greets him at the front door, he's like, "Oh, nice outfit."
Yeah, nice PR scheme there. It's like a screensaver, right? Remember, they made him on purpose, like that green outfit that he wore forever. Even he traveled out of country on first class planes, right? First class planes, in some cases private jets, flew on these private jets, went to black tie events, like these suit tux events, and he still wore the stupid outfit. Would you not feel like a clown at a freaking black tie event wearing some stupid green t-shirt? It was just dumb. And it's because all of the paparazzi outside, they see him and they go, oh, this guy is a hero. He's right on the front lines with his people. He really cares. The guy's a comedian and an actor. Everybody knows this by now. The guy was put in power because he played a president very well on TV. He played a president that a regular guy that ended up becoming president. That was the TV show he was in. And then, of course, it happened in real life. Coincidence? I think not. And then President Trump, VP Vance are standing up for Americans. Dex, do you want to talk about this whitehouse.gov article here?
Well, yeah, so quickly, because they knew where the media was going to go with this, they immediately released sort of their own version of a fact check on everything they said. All the talking points that they had against him, or not against him, but at him in this conversation. Like, more than 52% of the Ukrainians want a quick end, and that's according to a Gallup poll. And they were talking about the fact that his military is hurting significantly, that he just conscripted another 160,000, which brings it up to 1.16 million that he's conscripted, and that the average age is 43 years old. And then they even said, and this is coming from one of the Ukraine president's closest aides, said even if the West came through with all the weapons that they've pledged, we don't even have the men to use them. So all of this goes back to the point that he is not in a position to not want to negotiate. He's not in this position to say, oh, well, we're going to keep the conflict going. And so they basically put all of this information out immediately after, just to sort of back up and say, look, we're not just making this stuff up. We're coming at this from a point of trying to get to peace, trying to get to a ceasefire deal. And all he wants to do is, get more money and keep fighting.
They're trying to squeeze every last drop out of the military-industrial complex, and there's obviously filters. There's a big loop, and the money is going back other places. There's enough chatter and rumors, and now at this point, there's going to be evidence very soon here that this is probably like the third or fourth biggest fraud in our lifetimes. I think most of all of the biggest frauds in the world have all happened in the last 5 years. Yeah, 6 years technically. But yeah, we're going to cover all of the rest, and we're going to talk about North Korea. We're going to talk about China. We're going to talk about Russia. We are also going to show you videos. We're going to show you some of the clips. It is absolutely wild. It just went sideways so quick. We'll talk about it and give you our opinions on it. It will be a fun night over on Marfoogle TV. So make sure to join us. If you can, please share this video out with friends and family. We're just, we're just regular people. We're trying to get our message out and get our community out. You guys are a part of the community. You are the only way we get spread out to other people. So again, if you share this with somebody, that would be much appreciated. We are covering controversial topics. So they're putting us behind 40,000 pages of CNN, Fox, BBC, and every other bought and paid for media. So thank you guys. All right, join us over on Marfoogle TV in just a moment. If you're in the chat, just stay there. If you are watching the replay, all you have to do is click here. Every day that I saw this coming was the day that I pray it was nothing. But when it is, we sure won't be running.